Hello friends, neighbors, John your whiskey neighbor here. Welcome down the Nook. It's Sunday and I'm going to shoot a couple of samples from the Heathens. You guys are great, so much fun to watch. These samples are both single barrel picks, single malts, but not from the UK, not from Scotland at all. We've got one from Balcones out of Texas. It's a single malt, single barrel that has just been in European oak. And the other is Last Mountain Smoky Single Malt, which I think was actually first aged in ex-bourbon and then finished in what's rumored to be a Lafroig cask. They're both pretty hefty. This one's 65%, this one's 63%. So thank you, Heathens, for these samples. I've just poured them out, I've let them air, but I haven't even really nosed or tasted them. We're gonna start with Balcones and then we'll go to Last Mountain. So if you got any single barrel, single malts, but I would say like an American or a Canadian single malt, why don't you pour that? Come on back. 3, 4. Thanks for coming back. As I said in the opener, we're going to start with a Balcones single cask, 65%. This one, all I have for information, and it was not enough for me to find a better online, it just says it's a total wine pick, 65% European oak. I know that Balcones normally ages their single malt in, it could be new and used American oak, Hungarian oak, French oak, but when they do a single cask, of course, it's just one of those. And all I know is this is beautiful color, just dark color, and I know it's natural color, non-chill filtered. We'll see what kind of nose and taste notes we get out of this Balcones single malt. Wow, single malt. It is quite spicy for that. Like I'm getting all kinds of like cinnamon and peppers and certain things popping right off the top, fresh oak. Maybe a little malt digging in, but I'll tell you, it feels a lot fresher and hotter and spicier than a lot of cask strength single malts that I've had the pleasure of. Let's dive in. Cheers. It is oaky and spicy and woody and nutty. I really think it would be in a blind. It's almost like a bourbon in the sense of all of that oak and wood and spice and tannin, peppering. It's not what I would typically think of when I think single malt. Not at all. Do I like it? Yeah, I like big, bold, spicy whiskey, so it's certainly a flavor excitement for me, but it's missing some of maybe the corn buttery that you'd be getting, of course, in bourbon, where it's all that corn and maybe a little bit of malted barley to keep you happy, but this is apparently all malted barley. Another sip. Right now, about the only thing that's telling me it's barley is that nuttiness quality that I sometimes get walnut or that cream of wheat nut kind of, like, that's not nut, but that kind of maltiness going on. Otherwise, honestly, in a blind, I would probably guess that was some kind of high malt or high barley, but bourbon with lots of corn on there. It's just all kinds of tasty, but oaky, woody, drying, and spicy. I better try it with some water too. Before I do water on the Balcones though, this one is from Last Mountain. It's also big, 63%. And every time I drive to Saskatchewan to buy some of their special releases, I never can. I have brought home their regular release, which is a fun grain elevator bottle. But this is very typical Canadian, relaxed, nice, sweet, buttery. Let's see what their single malt, aged, I think it's ex-bourbon, but for sure it's finished in a peated cask, rumored to be Lafroig. Now that smells more like a young malt, sweet, honeyed, citrus. Unmistakable smoke, peat, brine. Yeah, pretty good. Smoky, sweet, sharp. But again, that lemon, citrus, and young, light husk barley. Yeah, just try it on the palate. Cheers. That's full peat, which is surprising because it's just finished in a peated barrel. This one tastes young, spicy, hot on the edges, huggier here, but a nice brined smoked peat, a little oily, maybe a little more creosote, little bit medicinal coming in now on the end. Try another quick sip. Tasty, young. If you poured that for me blind, I would guess, yeah, maybe a young Lefroy or something off Isla, even though it's a Canadian single malt. It's all malted barley, but it's finished in a smoky cask, but it's very peat forward. Quite tasty. I'm going to put water on both, see where they go. All right, coming back to the Balcones single malt European oak. It was at 65. I've put a fair amount of water on this. Lots of interesting baking spices now. Yeah, with those hotter cinnamons and hot peppers I was getting, now I can get more, a little more Christmas cake, a little more relaxed, a little more savory. Yeah, and juicy. Nice nose. Water really helped that nose. Try it on the palate. Cheers. That's a tasty malt. It still has quite a bit of oak, much more oak than I usually get from single malts, and so it's still throwing me into a little bit of bourbon territory. But it is a single malt. Now I can believe that. I almost couldn't at 65%. It is also young because it's hot in the palate and in the throat, even proof down. But it's got a broader range of spicing, a broader range, like I said, that Christmas cake spices, and some good drying oaks, tasty, that tannic, but in a tasty way off the finish. Coming back to the last mountain, but a single barrel, finished in a peated cask. Now the nose is smokier, but nice old campfire. Oh, a bit of leather on there. Nice nose. Try on the palate with water. Quite a bit more lemon. Lemon custard, lemon pie. The citrus really amped up with water. Still got a little bit of coal oil in it somewhere. That little bit of creosote type. Light, sweet, quite different than the Balcones. Actually, like really, really different. Their colors actually almost give you a hint, where this is, citrus golden light, but smoked and briny, and this is oaky, but richer fruits when they're there, like almost cherries kicking around in there. I like both of these, and both benefited quite a bit from water. Could be their youth. Yeah, of course, their strength, but they both perked up with water. The Balcones got a lot better with water. I was surprised. It's now, I think, a really nice younger malt. And the last mountain, I don't know why they didn't release that out here in Alberta. I certainly would have got a bottle. These are great samples. Thanks, Heathens, and thanks for staying with me and sipping through these. I don't know if you had either of these or similar ones, and if you have, why don't you drop in a comment down below. Thanks for watching. Have a great week.